I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, John, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I hate to sail on this rotten tub. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. No grog allowed and rotten grub, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by our oath for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
Running down to Cuba with a load of sugar. Hey! Wavy boys to Cuba. Make her run, you lime to squeeze us. Running down to Cuba. Hey! Wavy boys to Cuba. Running down to Cuba. Oh, I got a sister, she's 9 feet tall. Wavy boys to Cuba. She sleeps in the kitchen with her feet in the hall. Running down to Cuba. Wavy boys to Cuba, hey! Running down to Cuba. The captain, he will trim the sails. Wavy boys to Cuba. Winging the water over the rails. Running down to Cuba. Wavy boys to Cuba. Running down to Cuba. Give me a gal can dance fandango. Wavy boys to Cuba. Round as a melon and sweet as a mango. Hey! Running down to Cuba. Wavy boys to Cuba. Running down to Cuba. Load the sugar and homeward go. Wavy boys to Cuba. Mr. Mate, he told me so. Running down to Cuba. Hey! Wavy boys to Cuba. Running down to Cuba.
You heard them. Get down to Cuba. Get over there. Go. How much clearer can we be? How is everybody? Yes, it's me, Luke the Mold Stevens. Glad to have you guys here today. I just got back from the gym, took a little shower, which I swear my hair is not this greasy. It's wet. I want to be clear. But I'm here. I'm ready. We're vibing. We're rocking and rolling. We have some breaking news we'll touch on in just a second that happened shortly before we went live. I'm honestly surprised. I was not ready. I was not expecting this, but we'll talk about that. We have, of course, it's Black Flag Resynced Day. We got the embargo lifted, so we can talk about it at length. So I'm happy to talk about that, answer any questions, clarify anything. On the main channel, the video went up earlier this morning, about 45 minutes long, going through the preview and everything. Overall, really solid. There are still a couple of one big question mark I have that we'll talk about. So we'll discuss that. Luke has mold in his hair. You never know. Mold's everywhere. Can't escape it. Can't escape it. How are you guys doing? Everybody feeling good? Everybody feeling good? Hopefully you're feeling good. I mean, as long as you're not a Destiny fan, you're probably doing just fine. Oh, too soon? Too soon? That might be too soon. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All of my trees, thank you for the 10. Luke, you're so handsome. It's causing me marital problems. Love you. That's, you know what? I aim to, introduce a little spice in life. That's just what it is. That's what it is. So I'm glad that I could keep things interesting for you. Glad to have you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. Brushborn Studios, thank you for the 5. Reading the Destiny news just now feels so bittersweet. I spent thousands of hours over the last 12 years. It's like saying goodbye to a sick friend. That's a good way of putting it, I think. Marathon kill Destiny? Sort of. I mean, you're not like that far off. I mean, kinda, sorta, like, yeah, I guess. Imagine the Destiny creators. Yeah, I mean, for them, that one really sucks because for Destiny creators, like there's an entire ecosystem of people whose entire channels and TikTok pages and streams are dedicated to this one game that is now ending. And like the hope was Marathon would be the replacement for them, and it wasn't. So I don't know what they're thinking, man. I really don't know. I don't know. But yeah, other things that happened yesterday when we were off stream, breaking news was that Warhorse confirmed that they are making a Lord of the Rings game, which we were all kind of hoping for, but man, it's actually like confirmed now, which is crazy. This was my reaction, sobbing uncontrollably, because this for so many people is like an actual dream come true. Like people have been hoping that we get a really good open world, either adventure game or RPG or both in the Lord of the Rings universe, put together by a world-class team. And there's been attempts in the past, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War were great. But Shadow of Mordor was the last one that was not filled with overpriced garbage. And that was 2014, I think. It's been a minute. So 2013 or 14. I can never remember which one precisely, but it's wild. It's wild that we are here and it's actually confirmed and happening. To be fair, it is a ways off. It is in pre-production. So they have a new Kingdom Come game that's coming in the next fiscal year. So probably next year at some point. And that's probably going to be smaller in size, probably not 80 hours to finish, maybe 20. And then they have Lord of the Rings after that. But interestingly, it's going to be potentially moving engines too, which is fascinating. So I don't know. It's going to be a crazy whirlwind time. But realistically, by the time we hit like 2029, 2030, we could be looking at having Elder Scrolls 6, Witcher 4, Lord of the Rings developed by Warhorse. Like we are going to be, fantasy gamers are going to be eating so good. It's going to be ridiculous. So we'll discuss all of it. We'll get through all of it. It's going to be good. Luke, you're going to discuss the Take-Two earnings call? I want to, yes. It starts though at 2:30 p.m. my time. So it starts in like what, 3 hours? About 3 hours. And I've listened to a lot of earnings calls. I'm going to be real. Usually they're like an hour or two long and they are really dry except for like 3 sentences, which are exciting. I don't know if we want to sit through that long of an earnings call just to listen for the one sentence that's like newsworthy, so it might be better to wait for the snip of what's really newsworthy and go with that, because otherwise you're sitting in a call where it's literally like, and our earnings per share is going to increase in Q3 by 4%, and we are adjusting down our EBITDA to 2.2%, and we can expect it's dry. So it's not as exciting as it may sound at first glance, but yeah, maybe. They're gonna do whatever they want to do. I mean, they're gonna say GTA excitement is off the charts. We look forward to the game launching in November, and that's going to be the big headline. Like, I don't think there will be much there other than the game's going to launch in November. You know, I think that's going to be the whole thing. 53 Nights. Yeah, you caught EBIT. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You're a G. Yeah, I wish that's how it sounds. I would watch that. Yeah, it's kind of like financial ASMR, basically. Yeah. I just left work. It's the last thing I'd want to listen to. Yeah, I mean, it's way better, I think, to hear the snippets that are newsworthy than to like sit through the whole thing and try to find it yourself. Hammer, thank you for the sub over on Twitch, my friend. Thank you. That was 11 hours ago, so when we weren't streaming, but still appreciate you. Shout out for that. Luke, have you heard anything about Tomb Raider? I don't know. What? Me? Oh. Me hearing things about Tomb Raider? Pfft. As if. Patience, my friends. Patience. That's all I will say. Patience, my friends. As we do. Lonely, thank you for the 10. Did you see Sony will have a watch party for the State of Play? I did not know they were doing a watch party. It seems so. Typically Sony, yes, they did confirm they're doing a State of Play. Typically Sony does like a couple days notice at max. They don't tend to do like 2 weeks notice, which is what they're doing. So I'm very interested in what they have and why they would need to announce it so far in advance. But I'm excited. I'm excited. It's gonna be good. Yeah. What are you doing here? Me just hanging around. That's what I always think of whenever I'm like, no comment. I always think of just hanging around. Yeah, this.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing.
Me?
Me?
Just hanging around.
Just hanging around. Beetlejuice the goat. Yeah, probably about 46 inches. He's so great. Anyway. Yeah, Fair Games. Oh, dude, we sort of potentially maybe have Fair Game $ news. No joke. Real talk. Look here, look, listen. No joke. Where is it? Oh, I gotta show you this too. There is a new trademark that Sony filed. Okay, potentially new Fair Game $ name. As we know, it was originally announced as Fair Game $. Fair Game $ did not go over too well. Let's say it was a little negative. They have since, over the last 2 years, since revealing it, it might be 3 years, honestly. I think it was it 2023? Fair Game. Hold on. Videos. Yeah, May 24th, 2023. It's been almost 3 years. In 3 days, it will have been 3 years since this was revealed. But when this was revealed, didn't go over too well, as we all know. And this is, to put this in perspective, this was revealed pre-Concord. Okay, so this is from pure, unadulterated Jim Ryan era. The rumors have it that there's been multiple playtests that have gone over kind of poorly. The founder of the studio left, seemingly against her will. She just was not in the building one day. They had to notify employees through email, which doesn't sound like I'm pursuing another opportunity. That sounds like you were welcomed to leave because we deactivated your security key card. You know, that's what it sounds like to me. But she's gone. The game's director left after another playtest. And then reportedly there's been other playtests in the last year or so that also have not gone over super great. What we do know, though, is that according to Insider Gaming, the art style is significantly altered. It looks now more like the Division / Rainbow Six or something like that. It's much more grounded. It's much less, for lack of a better term, Ubisoft-esque, you know, and I think that's probably a good shift. But what is the potential news? Well, we know that they dropped the $. So now it's no longer called Fair Game $. It's just an S. And I have it on very good authority from a direct source that the lead directors and producers within the studio were aware of Luke and his videos. if you are not aware, in pretty much every video I've done on Fair Game Dollar Sign, I just instinctively call it Fair Game Dollar Sign. It's in my blood now. I can't help it. I know it's Fair Games. The name is near and dear to my heart, so I always want to call it Fair Game Dollar Sign. Well, they dropped the dollar sign. Might have had something to do with that. Sorry, not sorry. But what is this potential news? Well, Cammy clipped this. Look, Sony has filed a trademark for, quote, break-in the US and Europe, confirmed to be for a video game. The speculation is that this would be the new title for Fair Games, that they would completely rebrand it and rename it to Break-In instead of Fair Games. And honestly, I think this is a good move. Okay. When your previous brand is a literal meme, probably worth revisiting it. And what's the benefit of keeping the name? Name recognition? Do you want people to recognize that name? Is that what we want? It might be a good move to just rebrand and basically start from scratch and try to repitch it. Because yes, you and I will be aware that this is still Fair Game Dollar Sign. 99% of players, though, that will see this pop up on their PlayStation Store page when this launches will not put two and two together, and they won't probably care. They will judge the game based on what they see at that point. So, and then they'll start Googling break-in game, and they'll get all the results from that, and it won't pop up with results for Fair Game Dollar Sign. So Luke and his videos will not come up, which is probably, again, a smart move. So full honestly, no memeing, I think this is a good move. And if I were in charge, I'd probably do the same thing. I think it makes sense. And especially it sounds like it has changed a ton since that reveal. And what is the goal of feedback on a reveal like that? The reason people comment, the reason people make videos like the ones we did, was to voice what we like, what we don't like, and to put that feedback out there. Typically, companies don't respond to the feedback. They just brute force the product out and say, you're going to like it. And then they act shocked when the game flops. But the ultimate goal of feedback is for it to be actionable and for them to be able to do something with it to get to a product that you actually do like. And in this case, it looks like they've actually responded to a lot of feedback. They've been doing play tests and responding to feedback from those play tests. And so it's effectively like a totally different game than what we saw showcased here with a cinematic, but still. So all of this, I think, is good. To their credit, they are doing what they should do. Setting aside the memes of just cancel it. I understand it's not that simple most of the time. You bought a studio with the express purpose of making this game. Just canceling it is not that simple. So I get that. But honestly, I think that this is legitimately interesting and potentially compelling. So we'll see if this ends up actually turning into Fair Game Dollar Sign. It might not. It might be a different game. It might be a new game from Naughty Dog. They're going back to live service, baby. Who knows? But I think the pieces align and the dots connect to the point where it could potentially be a rebrand. And if it is, I think that's probably a good move. So there you go. Yeah, the news you were really, really hoping to hear about today. There you go. Other thing real quick, just to get these out of the way before we talk about Destiny. Okay, real quick. No, have you talked about Bungie yet? Not yet. We're about to. Okay, we're going to get there. I just wanted to shout this out because this is legitimately a great game and one of the coolest pieces of merch I've ever seen. I retweeted this. It's there's an indie game called Cairn. I can never figure out how to pronounce it. I'm gonna be real. I've listened to the devs say it, but they have accents, and so I don't know. Cairn. That's how I've been saying it in my personal life, but that's what I say. It is a game where you climb a mountain. Pretty straightforward. It's bizarre. Cairn. Oh my God. I can't. I don't know. How do you pronounce it? Well, now I'm overthinking it. Cairn. Oh my God. The game is good. You climb a mountain. It's bizarrely relaxing and super satisfying. I really do recommend the game. It works great on handhelds as well, like a Steam Deck. And it is a vibe. Like, it's a real vibe. I did not know how they were going to make a game about climbing a mountain really fun. But dude, it's a vibe. It really is. But this game, it has this sort of, you know, in like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, they have the hero's journey feature. Hero's Journey, Zelda. I think that's what they called it, didn't they? The like map thing where they track it. No, what was it called? You guys know what I'm talking about? Breath of the Wild Path. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was this thing where you could track. Yeah, it was this thing, Hero's Path. That's what they called it. They tracked the player's movement through the entire run. So you could actually see everywhere you went in the game. You could actually, you know, track your path all the way through. And it was actually helpful for hunting down shrines. Because if you realize that you didn't do any exploration in like this area, maybe you should look there, right? Which is really cool. They are doing something similar for this merch, which is legitimately like kind of awesome. What it is when you finish a run, it will prompt you with an option to buy a shirt with the run that you did and the path you took printed on it with your journey. And each one of these, you see the climb and then the drop, and then you climb a little more and the drop because you fell at that point. It has your death counters, how long it took you, how many falls you had, your total run time, how many in-game days it took. It's legitimately an awesome idea for merch. Like, really, really clever and cool. And it's like a thing you can do if you finish the game and you're like, I really enjoyed that. That was awesome. You can buy the shirt that has your journey and your climb put on it, which is just awesome. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in a minute. So often like video game merch ideas are just like, it's the logo, you know, it's like kind of lame, but this is legitimately really, really cool. And I wouldn't be surprised if other games start to follow suit, because this is like, I don't typically buy like video game merch or t-shirts and stuff, but I'd buy this, man. I'd buy this. Easy peasy, man. All day, every day. One long line for a fatal drop. Dude, at one point I did have a one that like I had to set down my Steam Deck and just, because you have these little hook things you put in that are like safeties, you know, anchors that you put your rope through. So if you fall, you can just go back to the anchor. I had run out of anchors, but I was like halfway up a massive cliff face. And I said, I'm just going to send it. I'm going to go for it. And I did. And I got like 2 feet away, ran out of stamina, wind gusted, I dropped and I fell all the way down. And it was like a solid, on the shirt, it's probably like from here all the way down to here. It like legitimately lost me like 45 minutes of progress. It hurt. But that made it so when I made it all the way to the top, oh my God, it was fantastic. It was awesome. So anyway, I highly recommend you check out Cairn. It's very, very good. And they have legitimately one of the coolest little ideas for merch that I've probably ever seen. It's really, really cool. And so I recommend you check it out. It's a vibe. There's that. Now, do I have any other? Oh, and the other thing, you remember, as you guys know, I'm big into watches. I really like watches. I collect watches. And I was asking, like 007, most James Bond films, they'll do an exclusive like James Bond watch paired with it. And James Bond is known for wearing Omegas, which are like the same. They're the timekeeper of the Olympics. The watches worn by astronauts on the Apollo missions. Like Omega is like the watch company. And they just revealed the 007 First Light watch. They actually did a crossover. I asked them about it, if they were going to do this. They had no news, but they revealed it. Watch this. It's the same watch he wears in the game, and you can buy it yourself. They actually did this for Resident Evil as well, which I just think is a cool collectible if you like watches and you like games. You can kind of cross over, you know, the two things. But what do you think? No cheating. What do you think this watch runs? What do you think? It's Omega. So this is not Rolex. Okay. Omega's known. You can walk into the, can you shoot lasers with it? Probably. For the price, you better be able to. So did Starfield. Well, yeah, but this one doesn't come in a Happy Meal, so it's different. 7,007K. Underrated comment right there, Captain. That's pretty good. I wish I had thought of that. That's pretty clever. 007K. Dude, they should have done that. That's awesome. I wish they had done that now. That's really good. 5,000, 5,600, 1,200, a bond. I don't know how much that is, but probably 15. I'm too poor for this. Most people are. 11, 10. Loxy says 10. Yeah, 700, 300. So to put it in perspective, most Omegas start around 10 to 15. There are entry-level watches you can get for like 5,000 to 6,000, just like Rolexes. Rolexes have like really cheap. Their cheapest are like, $6,000 to $7,000. Omegas go a little bit lower. You can get them at a slightly lower entry point. But most, like the average Omega probably averages out to between like 10 and 15,000. Yeah, 10 and 15,000 US dollars, to be clear. This right here is priced. Do they have the price written down, or do I just have to tell you? They don't have it written down. I believe the official price is roughly $9,500. Roughly 95 hundo. Roughly 95 hundo. I believe the final price, 9,600. Yes, standard models are $9,600, which actually puts it cheaper than most Omegas in this family, which is interesting. But you get an Omega. And Omegas hold their value, which is good to see. In this economy, yeah, this is not an average person collectible. I'll just say that. That's a used Honda Civic. Yeah, Luke, do an Omega watch giveaway. I'll ask the devs if they can. Guys, it's weird. My name came up in the giveaway. That's strange. That's crazy. Do another draw. Okay, sure. Also, my name is in here a second time. What are the odds of that? That's wild. So yeah, I am mighty tempted. I'll tell you what, because I love me some nice watches, and Omegas are my baby, my precious, my beloved. So we'll see. Can I just draw an Omega symbol on my Casio wristwatch? You sure can. You sure can, my friend. Yeah. How many super chats for an Omega? Considering it's $9,600, a lot. A lot. Did you put your name in the chalice? The Omega chalice. Dude, they need more product placement. Imagine if they had like the Rolex chalice and the Omega chalice at Hogwarts. That'd be great. Probably be able to afford better security and not have so many problems. Buttery Cheeks, thank you for the 5. Luke, I know you said hype makes you stupid, but Sony's State of Play being shown in movie theaters sounds like it'll be a good one. They gotta know what they're doing, right? Like, you can't do that if you think it's gonna underwhelm people. Like, if they do that and it ends up being stupid, and they've got like, it's like, okay, I don't want to suggest that Wolverine is stupid, but everybody expects Wolverine. If it's just Wolverine and then some like Japanese indie games, people will be upset. Right? I think people are expecting a lot. And when you do something like watch parties, the expectation raises up way higher, right? Like, I would think 1 hour plus. Exactly. So I am feeling that there's got to be some big, oh shit, like big moment, right? Concord 2, maybe. Destiny 3, I hear they have some more development capacity available now, so that's possible. Too soon? It might be too soon. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. An Omega watch party? Now we're talking. But yeah, they have to know what they're doing. Who really needs a $10,000 watch? No one needs a $10,000 watch. The reason why, so there's many reasons people buy fancy watches. Number one is because they just appreciate like the craftsmanship, the artistry, and the mechanics that go into it. It's like owning a work of art that's functional too. Probably a similar reason people like fancy cars and stuff. You don't need a sports car, but you appreciate what it is, right? So there's that. The reason why a lot of very wealthy people buy watches specifically is because a lot of high-end watches either retain or increase in value over time. So like if I buy a Rolex right now, it will still be worth what I paid for it for multiple years, if not increase in value, depending on the model and rarity and how hard it is to get. Like if you buy a Daytona right now, if you buy a brand new Daytona, you somehow get your name called on the wait list and you buy it. You buy it for 50 grand. You can turn around and sell it for 75 because people want it, but don't want to wait 5 years for it. You know, there's other ones like the more affordable models. To be clear, you should not be investing. You don't invest in watches. That's not what we're talking about. But if you have a lot of money and you want to put it somewhere where it's not going to immediately half in value, like a car, buying a fancy watch, if you get satisfaction out of that, it's a better place to put your money than like, you know, hookers and blow. Allegedly. Yeah, the poor models don't tend to retain value as much because there's more liquidity. There's more people bidding on them and buying them up. So things trade much faster and there's less arbitrage. But with like the really fancy stuff, the higher end stuff with bigger wait times, higher purchase prices, those become significantly more valuable, you know? Yeah, investing in watches now. That's the danger, is that people will be like, I'm going to invest in Pokemon cards. And it's like, just because one person bought a card and they bought it for a $5 pack or however much Pokemon cards are, and they ended up making $5,000 in that pack, that does not mean that you doing that will do the same. You are gambling, you know, like Pokemon cards are not investing. It's gambling basically. The fancy word is speculating. You're speculating on an asset. It's not the same as investing. So you're not investing in watches. You are collecting watches. And if they happen to be worth more in the future, that's awesome. If they happen to not lose value, that's awesome. But you're not investing. Like investing is different, you know. Luke, you seem like you have a watch display case for your collection. I have a couple actually. One is behind me. The only watch I have in there right now, you'll see it rotating occasionally because it automatically winds the watches. The only ones I have in there are like my older sentimental watches. So like my mom bought me a watch when I was in high school. It's like, you know, just a basic sterling watch. It's a nice watch, especially for a high schooler. But it's what got me interested in watches, and it was like it's something I hold very dearly. So like I keep that one in there. So, but I have a few different spots where I keep them. Yeah. Anyway. Nobody's interested in watches. People want to talk about Destiny, so let's get to that. Enjoying Lego Batman. Had to take a moment at max settings. Videos didn't do it justice. It looks amazing. Hard frame drops only on gameplay to cutscenes. Exactly, or cutscenes into gameplay. Thankfully, it's not that disruptive as far as I've been able to tell, and I'm very pleased with how it runs. Long as the Davey says, as long as the Lord of the Rings game is as good as Return of the King on GameCube, I'm happy. Dude, if it's coming from Warhorse, I bet it's going to be poggers. Should have been, says Ricadius, should have been Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings kind of sucks outside the Jackson trilogy. On a side note, playing Red Dead Redemption for the first time, it's fire. I think what you're suggesting is Lord of the Rings has, as an IP, not really seen its value properly extracted, except for the Jackson trilogy, which is probably fair. It's not been like totally capitalized on properly. Shadow of Mordor was a really good execution of it, but I would agree Lord of the Rings has not gotten fair treatment. It needs some lovin's. It needs some lovin's. Tezo, thank you for the 2. Have you heard anything about Tomb Raider? No idea what you're talking about. Never heard of that. Walter King, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. Wallet the Great T3 at State of Play. Fingers crossed. Probably not, but maybe. No, I think we see Corey's game. Have you noticed Corey isn't in chat? Like he's busy with something. Just saying. Watch as Corey shows up now and it's like, nope, never heard of it. What's a State of Play? But I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised. That could happen. It's also possible, like we heard all of the rumors that Naughty Dog was crunching in December trying to finish a demo, and that demo was apparently finished in December. And I'm just saying, if they had a demo in December, they were finishing for executives, the executives review it in early January or at the end of December, and they get the green light and they say, okay, we're going to show this off at our next big showcase. That would time out to be shown off in May. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like an intergalactic gameplay reveal, gameplay demo, like a full 10 minutes of gameplay showing what the game actually is, which would be awesome. So I think they will have some heavy hitting stuff. I'm not sure if they're going to have any like some people are thinking we'll see like Last of Us 3 revealed or something. I don't think we'll see that. Days Gone 2, I don't know, but I think we probably see Intergalactic, and I think potentially Corey's game. Uncharted, maybe. I just think Uncharted probably comes after Intergalactic, I would think. And so I would imagine they would showcase it after that. Hogwarts Legacy 2, I don't have evidence of this. I don't have a reason to think this beyond what we saw from the one and only Expecto Go. Expecto Go, they do great coverage of Harry Potter stuff. I initially got introduced to their page. It's James and Sue. They run it together. They're a couple that runs it, and they did a bunch of coverage of Hogwarts Legacy. Great creators, super nice, and very, very passionate. But they did coverage talking about all this stuff. And one of the things that Expecto pointed out specifically is this it. I'm trying to find the tweet specifically about it. But they mentioned that there was a few job listings posted where they described how they were hiring like gameplay capture. And as you can see, yeah, you don't hire a community manager usually unless the studio is ready to progress from quiet development to public development. So they just hired a new community manager, which is something they did shortly before revealing the full game. And then there's this where he kind of wraps it up. Okay, so listen to this.
First and foremost, when
is the sequel announced? That's what he's referring to.
The earliest is 2026. We could see this trailer. I say the earliest is 2026. And again, going off that timeline I stated with Naughty Dog and just when we're getting this. And also keep in mind, we talked about it earlier, the Harry Potter TV show, HBO series is...
To be clear, they've already said the game will interact with the show and intertwine in some way. I don't know what the hell that means. Like, the show is going to be covering the books, and the games, I thought, were a prequel to the books. You know, so, like, I don't know what that means, but they've said that the show and the game will intertwine. I don't know what that means.
Airing in 2027. Thanks to WB, back in 2024, I think, or 2025, they confirmed that the TV series will be linked to the sequel.
I should have just waited for him to say it.
Narratively, in some way, shape, or form. So I know there's going to be some closeness in regards to release dates for both the Harry Potter TV show and Hogwarts Legacy.
And I believe the show is coming in December, like around Christmas.
2. The TV show we know is coming out in 2027. Hogwarts Legacy 2, I think the earliest it could come out is late 2027 around holiday. Definitely 2028, which would put it at the 5-year mark.
I think it's coming sooner than we think it is. Time Turner, yeah, I think they're gonna do some funky stuff with it, and they might even write in a little bit in the show where they're like, yeah, these students, they did this, and they'll point to some like point of interest that's new on the campus that is tied to the second game. They'll do something like that. But I do think it makes sense if they're connecting the show and the game together. They should launch relatively close because you want to have a game to sell to people at the same time the hype level is super high, right? So either you put the game out right after the show or at the same time as the show and just try to make it Harry Potter mania all at the same time. The other thing is that previously Hogwarts Legacy, the original game, they did a longer marketing cycle. They did like a year or two. I don't know if they want to do the same thing here, but I do think that they know what they have. They know Harry Potter is a huge franchise, especially among more casual gamers. And guess what? There's another game that's going to drive a lot of casual gamers to buying next-gen consoles. And so potentially if they buy those consoles around November, if you had pre-orders available for your game around the same time, might not be a bad idea. So I think that it's coming sooner than we think. And secondly, I think that it's probably revealed at some point, like officially revealed in the next month. That's my big, like, out of left field. I don't have any secret news. As you guys know, Warner Brothers doesn't talk to me. They're still upset about Suicide Squad. I still think Lego Batman is awesome. Even with that, they don't like to talk to me because they're upset about Suicide Squad. But I still think that Lego Batman is awesome. And I'm excited for Hogwarts Legacy too. I'm excited to see what they do with it. So I do think we'll see it revealed either at the State of Play or at Summer Games Fest. I think one of the two. If we don't see it by the end of June, I will be legitimately very surprised. I think we will see it revealed. We'll see a trailer and then maybe like a year window. Maybe it's just 2027 and they keep it open-ended and they'll open it for pre-orders later this year when they have a firm date. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Yeah, that's my expectation. Batman, hi Luke, they might launch earlier than November for GTA? No, November is the absolute earliest. They don't need to or want to move it. I think just set it, lock it in. Brush, it's gonna be break in with Bitcoin for the B. Dude, if they do that, if they replace the $ in Fair Games to just rename it into break in with a Bitcoin B, I'm gonna crash out. Okay, we'll call it Bitcoin Rake-In. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Thank you for the super chat. Hello, Luke. I don't know if you watched the video about the original plot of Uncharted 4 with the new mocap footages that came out recently. Kind of crazy they pulled off a masterpiece with from such a broken mess. Yeah, I saw bits of it. I do want to go through that full thing because I think it's going to be fascinating. It's, for anybody not familiar, there's a video somebody put together on the original version of Uncharted 4 that was kind of, well, basically scrapped and then rebuilt from the ground up. From Amy Hennig's original version. And I think that's going to be a fascinating one to go through because in the wake of The Last of Us Part 2, there's a lot of hatred directed towards Neil. And there's been a narrative developed primarily, as far as I can tell, from like 1 or 2 YouTube videos that made a few claims basically that Neil didn't do much. It was mostly Bruce Straley that was responsible for like the success of The Last of Us and Uncharted 4. Even though Bruce did gameplay and Neil did the story. And they basically said that Amy was robbed of her project. But that video that reconstructs the original story based on motion capture sequences and stuff that have been released after the fact, now that we have them, we can figure out what the original story was and what the original game was going to be under Amy Hennig. And it was a bit of a mess. It really was a bit of a mess. I'll tell you what. So it's going to be fascinating. We'll go through that when we hit a bit of a lull. Maybe like tomorrow we could even do it. I don't know. But yeah, I do want to go through that. It's going to be fascinating. John DeDon, thank you for the 5. Did you see that Bungie announced the next DLC for Destiny 2 will be the last one? What do you think is next for them? Yeah, let's talk about that now. Thank you. Thank you for the prompt. Let's get into that. Let's see. Sony do something stupid. Never going to happen. Who's going to tell him? Okay, let's talk about this. Let's just get into the meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. Oh, baby. New segment. Breaking news. Sad day. Sad day for some people who are still playing this game. I think I know a couple of people who are still playing it. And they probably will be sad, but honestly, they should probably have already moved on because it's been in decline for a long time. Anyway, new segment. So, breaking news happened just before we went live. Destiny 2 got an update. New content? Expansion? Sort of. A roadmap? Kinda. The roadmap is straight into a brick wall, but what is this? Let's just read it. For almost 12 years, we have had the joy and honor to explore the Destiny universe with you all. Through all the ups and downs, surprises and triumphs, building Destiny alongside our players has been a monumental privilege. What do you mean has been? Uh-oh. While our love for Destiny 2 has not changed, it has become clear that after the final shape, we have reached the time for our shared worlds and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. Oh, so they're announcing a sequel? Right? Beyond Destiny? Right? Maybe. As our focus turns towards a new beginning for Bungie. That doesn't sound good. We will begin work incubating our next games. To that end, on June 9th, 2026, we will release the final live service content update for Destiny 2 to begin that new journey as a studio. Though active development may be concluding, we will ensure that Destiny 2 remains playable just as the original Destiny is today. Many changes in this final update will aim to ensure that Destiny 2 is a welcoming place for players to return to. We're proud of Destiny 2, the places it took us, and the legacy it has created. Because of you all, our universe is vast, built on years of shared stories, adventures, and victories. From the Cosmodrome to the Pale Heart to the Lawless Frontier, we have forged lifelong memories and friendships with you all. We are incredibly grateful to everyone who made that journey with us. From the deepest part of our hearts, thank you. We'll see you in the stars. She did, boys. She did. She did. Oh boy, she did. Yeah, they are ending. They're ending support. They will have a final update, and then they are saying goodbye. Never been good at goodbye, so good be to you. I mean, let's be honest. I don't think anybody is that shocked. It's been in decline for a long time. It still is unfortunate because it's kind of a staple of the industry at this point. But I mean, if you just look at player counts, it's not a shock that they were struggling to make this make sense financially. They've had a few solid updates, but the thing is, for every one of these big updates that doesn't peak at 300,000 players on Steam, you're just like, there's just tons of money being hemorrhaged and lost and everything. And these player counts just don't work. It just doesn't work. And Sony has pretty clearly, since buying them, been dissatisfied with the overall performance of the company and of Destiny 2 and Marathon and everything. You don't spend $3.7 billion for 8,000 or 10,000 concurrent players. You just don't. And yes, you can have occasional peaks where it goes up higher, but this last one was in June of 2024. You can't hope for one every 2 years. You know, that doesn't work. It just doesn't. You say Marathon is better than? Marathon is different. That's kind of the point. I think when Sony bought Bungie, it was clear that they bought them with the intention that they were going to have Destiny 2 live service money, and that they would then get Marathon, which at the time was being discussed as the next big thing. I am not joking when I say I went to the studio. I went to Bungie. I've been there. So it's a remarkable building. I mean, it is in a skyscraper. Their ceilings are 40 feet tall. It's ridiculous. It's like being in a palace. But when I was there, before like Marathon was officially like fully revealed in like April or May of last year, everybody there was talking about how Marathon, they thought extraction shooters were going to be the next big thing. That they were discussing how, yeah, you had these types of MMOs, and then the next big thing was like these games. The next big thing was these games, and then it went to battle royales, and those were big. And then hero shooters before that were also massive. The next big thing is extraction shooters. Like they thought, and they were pitching to Sony that Marathon was probably going to end up being like Fortnite level success, Destiny 2 level success. That's what they expected and were selling Sony on. And I think because Jim Ryan was, there's a technical term, there's a scientific term for a goddamn idiot. Because Jim Ryan was a goddamn idiot, he believed it and spent $3.7 billion on them. And then we ended up with Marathon. And the problem with Marathon is that it's a solid game for a niche audience. But the thing is, like, that doesn't work. You cannot spend mainstream, big budget, AAA, quadruple A money on a game that has niche appeal. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. If you spend a little money on a niche game, that works. That's why indie games can be profitable, because you have a niche audience, but you developed it with a tight budget, so you make money. Brilliant, right? That makes sense. But you can't spend $250 million on a game with very niche appeal. It just doesn't work. The math doesn't math. But that's what they did with Bungie, is that they spent Fortnite money on a studio that had a dying live service game in the form of Destiny 2, that had other projects that were spun off that still have not seen the light of day, and that were working on Marathon, which has niche appeal. No part of this made sense at any stage, which is why even when the news broke back in the day that they were buying Bungie for this much money, everybody was like, they've got to know something we don't. They have to know that Marathon has got to be like a masterpiece in the making. Turns out, no, it was just they were throwing money at a problem, thinking that it would magically fix it because live service games make tons of money. So I'm not shocked that this has happened. I think it's been a story that has been slowly rolling out over the last handful of years. And it's just clear you can't have a team. I think Bungie today sits at around 800 people. When they were bought out, it was like 1,800, I believe. And then they went through spin-offs and layoffs and all sorts of stuff. But you can't have a studio of 800 people in a very, very, very expensive part of the country with these player counts. Like, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. The math doesn't math. And yes, it's not just on Steam. You have console players, you have all that. Yes, I understand. But the point is the trend. Like, when you're going from regularly being able to predictably see huge player spikes, and even then, like, your low months are still, you know, in the 100,000 player range, even just on Steam. Now those players have largely evaporated, and you're sitting down in like the you know, a sub 10,000 player count number. It just doesn't work. The math doesn't math. So Sony is deciding to shut this down, and then they are saying that they're going to incubate their next projects. Realistically, that next project very well could be Destiny 3. I think that that's the most obvious one for them to do. It probably makes the most money, frankly. Like, I think that that probably makes the most sense. Whether or not they do that, or if we see it anytime soon, remains to be seen. I mean, realistically, if they're going to do Destiny 3, it's still probably 4 years away, 5 years away before you see anything about it. So what I don't know what else they would do, but it's possible. It's possible they do something like that. But it's just going to be a matter of whether they can survive until then. Sony seems insistent that they are going to continue supporting Marathon, that they're going to support Bungie. They don't want to can them. They don't want to shut it down. I don't think they can handle the humiliation of that either. But I can't say I'm surprised by this, unfortunately. And like we've said a thousand times, Destiny 2 has been slowly degrading in player counts for years, and it really took a nosedive this year. And it just seems like Sony finally was like, we can't do this anymore. So instead of having 300 to 400 people working on supporting a game and losing money on that, they've just decided to cut it. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear news of layoffs in the next few weeks, and then probably after June. And then they're going to restructure, go into tight incubation, where they're going to start doing some like creative exploration of whatever is next. And they're going to do that with a really small team. And then they'll probably rehire and expand again when they get more into development on those new ideas. But it seems like they don't have a clear next project other than ideas right now. As far as we know, there is not like another game in chamber ready to go. They don't have that. That was Marathon. And so they've got to downscale a lot, and then I think they'll support Marathon with a smaller team and go from there. But I would not be surprised if we hear news of pretty significant layoffs in the next handful of weeks. I think unfortunately the only winner in this whole debacle were the original owners of Bungie. They managed to convince an incredibly naive and gullible Sony to buy them for an ungodly amount of money, and they are riding off into the sunset with hundreds of millions of dollars in their pockets. And they're just fine. While all of the other employees get laid off, the players lose their game that they loved and appreciated and built memories in. And that's just how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be. Bungie is delusional. I think it was more that Sony was delusional in their belief in what Bungie was saying. Like Bungie's executives, their goal was to try and sell the company to Sony for as much money as possible. The job of Sony was to get that feedback and be like, okay, is that number reasonable? Is that number realistic? Because like, as you would always expect, you go and buy a house. They ask for $500,000 for the house. You say, I don't think it's worth 500. I think it's worth 450. And the house is probably honestly worth 475, right? And so you negotiate down and you land on a price that makes sense. It seems like what happened is that Sony walked up and Bungie was like, hey, our house is worth 500,000. And Sony was like, okay, we'll pay you 5 million. Like that's basically the negotiation tactics that they employed here, which is just such a, it's just beautiful, really. I mean, it really is majestic and poetic to see it end this way. But again, can't say, I don't think anybody can say they're particularly surprised. It's just, at this point, a tale as old as time. Tale as old as time. Chips as soft as wine. So there you go. Still utterly remarkable. Absolutely remarkable to see this. But yeah. Anyway, do we have any Destiny players in here? Honest question. Is there anybody like that actively plays it? Not, maybe I should clarify. Not playing, like you didn't play 5 years ago, but like you're actively playing today. Is there anybody like that? Anybody like that? No longer, fell off it. Yeah, used to. I think that's going to be the trend with a lot of this. I think that's going to be the trend for a lot of this. I used to, or I did once back in the day, way back when. Way back when. Tell you what. Yeah. Oh man. Never played, never will. Not since Final Shape. No longer after Final Shape. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that was a good one to go off on, but yeah, they didn't have anything else. So, what are you going to do? One other piece of news that's interesting, just to touch on before we get to Black Flag. I was seriously wondering whether or not Fabled would actually end up launching this year, because they've been kind of quiet about it, but Playground Games did post on LinkedIn a confirmation that they are still planning to release it this year. So that's one we probably also see at Summer Games Fest, or that Xbox does some showcase with during their showcase. I'm not sure exactly how they plan to market it, but yeah, that and Gears are expected to like actually come. So there you go. Having played as much as I have of Destiny 2 over the years, Bungie leaving Activision and going independent seems to be the moment when the fall off really started, shift from gameplay to market shares. Well, I think from that point, the clear goal was build a money-making behemoth. And they did that. It probably was worth like $1 billion, honestly, at a certain point. But their ultimate goal was to treat it like any sort of startup company, where it's build the value and then extract the value by selling it off to another company that absorbs it and takes it over. That's what they did. And so again, the only winners in this whole debacle are the people that own the company. Like that really is it. That really is it. But yeah, here you can see Playground Games after the incredible launch of Forza Horizon 6 this week. The excitement across the studio is high, but we're not done yet with Fable coming later this year. We're continuing to recruit across multiple disciplines to bring more exceptional talent into the team. And you see specifically for Fable, community media lead for like capturing gameplay, for doing community events, stuff like that. Game designer, senior game designer, principal game designer, principal gameplay engineer, senior UI engineer, senior gameplay engineer. I'm surprised they're still hiring for those roles. Like usually those roles go up earlier in development, but I mean, they know what they're doing. Clearly with Forza, they know what they're doing. It's just interesting. Experienced cinematic artist. So we'll see. Hope to find out more. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they just delayed it till next year, but they say that they're still doing it. So what are you going to do? Anyway. Let's see. Luke, with all this talk of The Witcher 3 DLC coming this year, do you think we'll hear anything about it anytime soon? I kind of get the vibe that that's going to be a shadow drop situation. You know, I just have that vibe that if they're going to do it this year, just shadow drop it. You don't need to market a DLC. Like just shadow drop it. And like the word of mouth and the excitement behind a DLC for The Witcher 3, everybody who loves The Witcher 3 will hear about it. You know, the word will travel. I don't think they need to spend millions on commercials. Like, the word will travel. It'll be fine. So, yeah, I think it'll be good. But when we see it, I'm not exactly sure. Because, again, they haven't said anything. So, time will tell. Rick Skulls, thank you for the 5 as well. Brushborn Studios, thank you for that. It's crazy to think they stayed... they stayed with Activision, they would have been part of Microsoft again, then maybe we'd have better Halo series instead of Marathon. Well, that is what's fascinating, is if they had stayed, or if they had remained independent and Microsoft had bought them, their next project after shutting Destiny 2 down could legitimately just be a new Halo. Like, they could have like actually done that, which I think would be fascinating and would have been really, really cool. But yeah, no, it is what it is. It is what it is. That ship has sailed. Speaking of ships, we're going to talk about Black Flag in just a second. Let me finish catching up on these. Sierra, thank you for that super chat. Sony, do something stupid. Never going to happen. I know, right? Lucy from Resynced is mama. We'll talk about Lucy. I have thoughts on Lucy. Ryan, thank you for the 2. Hey, Luke, do you have any new info on Persona 6? I wish, dude. I wish. I wish, but no, I do not. As long as they take their time, I'm happy. I just hope the next gen Persona is like actually next gen. I think that would be really cool. Because even Metaphor, which was my game of the year in 2024, Metaphor is fantastic, but even it's built on the same basic architecture and tech of Persona 5. Like, it's a pretty it's not a particularly technically advanced game. You know, there's a lot of loading zones, there's a lot of loading between, and the type of game that it is, that doesn't matter that much. But I would love to see what a Persona would look like with a lot of those dials cranked up. Like, just imagine a Persona game but with like significantly higher fidelity across the board, because it's not built on an engine that was designed for the PS3. You know, I think that could be awesome. Like, obviously, if it ends up being in the same structure as Metaphor, it's still going to be awesome. Like, no doubt. Those games clearly, like, it's fine. But I do hope that they can really crank up those dials. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, Persona 5 is a PS3 game, by the way. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is, like, it plays like a game you could play on the PS3 because it's built on that architecture. It's built on that. But if they were to do major overhauls, and, like, just imagine what a PS5 built from the ground up Persona game would be like. Ooh, that'd be hot. That'd be steamy, dare I say. I can only imagine. Hey, I'm Cups says with a $5 super chat, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Indeed. It's still out there somewhere. There's been rumors that Ubisoft is experimenting with generative AI game experiences. Watch as that's where that ends up. Watch as the way that they end up finishing Beyond Good and Evil 2 is with just generative AI crap. After 20 years of waiting, it ends up being total garbage. I would not be shocked if that's how it ends up getting tied up. It would just be so poetic if after all that's how it ends. But yeah. It would have. I thought it would have been canceled. I think many, like most people, would think it would have been canceled. It's what makes me wonder if there's some sort of government contract, like where they got a governmental grant to make the game, and now they have to legally put it out, but the game is just not working. I have to wonder if there's something like that. You know, I just, because otherwise, why do they still have it? You know, like. There's no way it has any of the original stuff from the 2008 reveal in it. Like, there's no way it has any of that original stuff. So why is it still here? Like, why not cancel it and then announce a reboot, or just Beyond Good and Evil Reborn, or like reboot the whole thing? Like, what are we doing? What is it? I don't know. People think using AI is cheaper than hiring people. As someone who regularly uses Claude, I have to disagree. The thing is, a lot of executives who want to be like on the cutting edge talk about it like it's a panacea, like it's this ultimate generalized, like, what do they call it? General intelligence. I think that's what they call it. General intelligence. They think that it's just some supercomputer that you can type in, make a GTA 6 clone, and it'll do that. And it just doesn't. Like, and it's because they're idiots who don't know what they're talking about. You talk to any dev and they're like, it doesn't work that way. You can't just do that. Like, we can use it to streamline our customer service tickets and create spreadsheets quicker, but we have to double check all the data. Like, it's not a magical one and done solution. And most companies are learning that now, but there's still some holdouts that are kind of delusional with it. You know, it's just... So snake oil, it's snake oil that only executives that have the checkbook seem to buy into. Like, do AI tools stand or offer in some applications increased like productivity or workflow and things like that? Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you can sift through 10,000 emails complaining about bugs quickly and put them into a spreadsheet super fast and organize them so you can immediately find out what the important pieces of feedback are, like, yeah, that would speed up your workflow because you can quickly find out key bits of information using that. But is that the same as like magically now your game can be made with half the people? Like, no, that's not how that works. So it's often that they take one little tidbit where it's like, yeah, I can technically make this little piece of our workflow more efficient or faster or whatever, as long as we're double checking it and stuff like that. And they take that and like, okay, so we can fire everybody now. It's like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. But anyway. What are they going to do with Marathon? Last I heard, they were pulling similar numbers. Yes, Sony, all we can do is go off of what Sony's CFO has said. And she said that they intend to continue supporting it and continue working on it, and that they don't intend on like shutting it down. So she has said that to investors. Something could change and they could shut it down. Time will tell. Time will tell. But based on their statements, they are not going to shut down Marathon anytime soon. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. I read that one from Brush. Thank you again. Cam, thank you again for that super chat about the Witcher 3 thing. Okay, I read that one. Tank, thank you for the 5. Opinion on Stellar Blade years later. I got the platinum yesterday. This game was done dirty by its defenders, ironically enough, some Eve LARPers. I think Stellar Blade is a way better game than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be mostly booba and not a lot of gameplay. It's actually a really solid video game. Like, it's a really solid video game. But dude, I'm gonna just show you guys something. Those of you who who have been on stream when we've talked about Stellar Blade before, you know what I'm gonna look up, because it's remarkable. Stellar Blade. Where is it? The people that made these mods are the reason why no one wants to talk about playing this game publicly. Yeah, I'm going to give you the option. You're about to see something very debauched. Sneaky Pickle knows what. This released within like a week or two of the game launching. Okay. The feet hands. Yes. I don't want to tell people to go find religion, but man, you got to do something. You got to talk to someone, man. I don't want to even have the conversation. I see this and I just want to be like, somebody who is very technically savvy, who's very smart and capable to build mods, spent time doing this. I can't even imagine. I can't even fathom, dude. Like, find Jesus. Find Allah. Find Joseph Smith. Whatever you gotta do. Xenu. I'll take Xenu. This ain't it, man. The peace sign with the toes. It's so bad. It's so bad. So anyway, now you're cursed. You've seen it too. Yes, that is an official mod that you can download. I love Stellar Blade as a video game, but stuff like that makes it hard to talk about because people assume that because there's some characters, real characters, unique personalities that are really into Stellar Blade like that. They assume that if you like Stellar Blade, you're one of those very unique people. And I'm like, no, I like the combat. They're like, sure, show me your hands. So it's unfortunate that the game kind of got its discourse tied up in stuff like that when the game itself is actually really, really good. But you know what? It's a unique story. It stood out. And I'm not saying stood out because you stand on feet. It's a turn of phrase to stand out on your merits. What game are we talking about? Oh no, we might have found one, guys. What game is this? The foot hand. What game was that? I'm just curious. Where do we buy that? Anyway. Yeah, I like Stellar Blade the game. Unfortunately, yeah, the narrative got caught up with some weirdos, but that's just how it works, man. Brandon, thank you for the 41 months. What have you been gaming lately? Not working. I have been playing Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight. I've been playing that. I have been playing what else have I been playing? Went back. I'm still chugging through Crimson Desert. After a bit of a break, I went back and I'm still chugging through that. Nikki and I have been doing a new couple of games of Civ 6. That's been going good. In our game we were doing the other night, it is the year 1795, I believe. Might be early 1800s. And I have just launched satellites. So I'm a little ahead of the curve. I'm doing pretty good. I always chase down science victories. I'm one of those players. Tell you what. But yeah, I've been doing that. Not playing Civ 7, not yet. Subnautica 2, I have bought it, downloaded it. I have not played it yet. I need to. My backlog is getting backfilled. Is that the term? My backlog is getting its back blown out. Is that? I think that's right. That sounds right to me. Yeah. Don't say that. Why? Yeah, anyway. That's even worse. You made it worse. Oh my God. Quentin, thank you for the 3 months. Luke, I recently got Crimson Desert Lego Batman. Also backlog. KCD2 finally finishing the first. Any heads up on which to go for next? I mean, KCD2 for me is like phenomenal game of the year 2025. I love it dearly. And it sounds like another one is on the way sooner than we expected. So I would say KCD2 priority. Beyond that, Crimson Desert, I think for most people is going to be a game that they play for 50 hours, take a few weeks off, come back, play another 20 hours, take a few weeks off. And I think that's fine. It's just massive. Like most players are probably spending 150 hours to finish it. No joke. And then Lego Batman is like 20, 25 hours, I think, roughly. It's not that overwhelming. So you can get to that when there's a good lull. It's really solid. But yeah, I'd say KCD2, play Crimson Desert when you feel like it, and then pop into Lego Batman Blast through that when you get the chance. And yeah, soon we're going to have 007 as well. That's looking really good. No, as of right now, because I know people are going to ask, as of right now, no, I do not have 007. I don't know if anyone does. To be fair, I've not asked people, but no, as of right now, I do not have 007. So I do not know. How's it running on console? Which one? Lego Batman? Lego Batman runs solid on console. Performance drops the resolution a lot, but you get 60 frames, so it's up to you. KCD runs really well on console. Full stop, period. So, yeah. Okay. Caleb, thank you for that. Very generous 20. We need to go back to church. We tried, but clearly it ain't working. Yeah, when I saw that mod, I think somebody in chat referenced it. They're like, dude, you got to look at the official mods for Stellar Blade. I was like, how bad are they going to be? I was not prepared. I was expecting like really skimpy outfits or something, like, you know, a bikini that's just a couple of pieces of string. I was ready for that. I was not ready for that. You know, like that was something that makes you feel dirty. Like, you know, when you see something online and you feel sticky after, not in a fun way. You're just like, I feel dirty. I feel like I just went out into the savannah and was attacked by a horde of hornets. Like, that's what it feels like. It's just like, I need to get on my feet and knees and pray. Yeah. I was going to say hands and knees, but that didn't sound right in the context of what we're saying. Let's see. And then Leo, thank you for that. With the PlayStation pulling away from PC, will they pull their current games off Steam, Epic, etc. to buy? Like delist them. So like if you own them, you still have them. But I don't think so, because it's free money at this point. Just let people buy them. And I don't think they'll do any further updates on stuff or try hard for big updates. But yeah, I don't think they'll delist them or anything. Yeah, I don't personally think that. And then finally, Keto Mansky, thank you for 31 months. Did you see Project Hail Mary question? It's amazement. What's your PO box again? We'll send you Black Sails Blu-ray for Resync launch. It was my 35 B-Day. BD? I'm assuming BD is birthday. If that's what you meant. Happy birthday. As for my PO box, send an email to our business our business email address that we have linked in like all the channel about sections, and my team can send you my my mailbox. Okay, we can hook you up if you want to send me something, but never ever feel like you need to or should send me anything. But I'm always open to receiving fun little tidbits and stuff. It's always really cool. And then Wallet, thank you for that. Getting myself prepped for 007 by replaying Hitman. Is KCD2 worth it without KCD1? SSD prices are crazy. Also $45 last year, $160. Dude, you're telling me they're insane. As for KCD2 without KCD1, you can technically play it without it. I would heavily recommend playing KCD1. They did a next gen update for it on console. So if you're playing on like PS5, just like you can play KCD1. They're like, they start literally right where one leaves off. So you can just roll right through and experience all of them together. It's awesome. That is the way to do it. And I would heavily recommend it. Like you can do a story recap. Yeah. But I would just say like your experience is going to be like so much better if you just play it all the way through. Personally, I think that's what you got to do. I think that's what it's got to do. At least mainline KCD1. Yeah, like you don't, nobody's saying you have to like spend 200 hours in it, but I think that you'll enjoy the story of KCD2 a lot more if you experience the first game as well. Let's talk about this. Where'd it go? Hold up. Oh, I remember. I opened it in a folder. Okay. I'm going to show you some stuff. Okay. I got that. We got this. Okay. It's time, my friends. It's time. New segment. About a pirate whose name was Ed. Kind of changes the feeling of the story if you think of his name as Eddie. Pirate Eddie. Makes it feel different. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. Okay. So, today is the day, my friends. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced's preview embargo has lifted, meaning I can talk about it. We can discuss things and get into details. I posted a 45-minute deep dive of all of my impressions of the trip and everything, because I did go to the studio in Singapore and meet a lot of people working on the game, of course, play it, which is some of the footage you're going to be seeing on screen here. Talked to a bunch of the devs, was able to ask them questions about why certain things are changed, why they did things certain ways that they did. They showed us some of the interesting tidbits about the game that were notable and worth pointing out. And overall, My impressions, very positive. I think this is going to be awesome. I'm very excited for it. If I could play more right now, I would. It was a great time. It was a great time. I do still have like a couple of things I'm iffy on, and there is one particular thing I really was not into that we're going to discuss. But overall, really solid. I say like 95, 98% of what I saw, I was stoked on and really excited for. But there's one or two things where I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if that's it. But honestly, considering how big and massive the game is and how much is going on, that's a pretty solid batting average, you know? It's pretty solid. As for like the big ticket items, before we get into the point of concern that I have or had, the obvious stuff, graphically, totally overhauled. The water sim has also been totally reworked. It's hard to tell with a compressed video, but when you play the game yourself, you'll be able to notice and see. There has been so much work done to the water. It's absolutely outrageous. We spoke to the devs working on this, and it's just insane, the work that's gone into this. But it's also, as you'll see here with the storm blowing, they've been able to bring in the dynamic weather system that they built for AC Shadows, which means the original game operated on sort of like an on-off switch for weather. So like you'd literally go into console commands and like switch on thunderstorm, and then it would start a thunderstorm around the player. That's not how it works anymore. It's literally simulating clouds in the distance that blow across the map and come and meet the player. And so it's not actually based on toggles anymore. It's actually simulated, and that applies to the water sim, of course, to all of the leaves, all of the environment around you. The wildlife reacts differently to the weather. So when it's sunny, you might see animals out on the beach that you don't see when it's pouring rain. You know, that's just how it tends to work, which makes perfect sense. Furthermore, they also have built in all sorts of new things for like the AI, where, for example, storms make it more difficult for enemies to hear you. And so they're able to simulate, basically based on the intensity of the weather and where you are and the ground and everything, how loud footsteps are, and then change the sensitivity of the NPC's AI to detect you based on the weather and things, which is just cool. And there are stealth sequences we played where you can actually feel that, where if you were doing a stealth sequence as a player during a thunderstorm, you would approach things differently than if you were I tried to go inside, but it was locked for us. You'll experience it differently than if you were experiencing it without that thunderstorm, which is, again, just very interesting. Now, overall, like the key points are like graphical updates are massive. They've also done a bunch of work to things like the AI. Those are obvious improvements that you would expect. Combat has been overhauled as well. It doesn't work the same way as it did before. It's no longer relying on rock, paper, scissors. It's based on an actual hitbox based system. I personally liked it as I assassinated a guy that's peeing. Skadoosh, what a way. Man, he had his manlyhood in his hand and I killed him. Didn't even wait for him to finish. That's cruel. But it's based now on hitboxes, and it honestly, I like it. It's one of these combat systems where, to be clear, there is a low floor, as far as I can tell. War crime, probably. And there is a high ceiling. And what I mean by that is that if you want to just button mash, you can. Like, if you want to just button mash, I tried it. The game will be like less fun and probably more difficult, honestly. But you can button mash and it'll work just fine. But if you want to get into combos, you'll see on the right side of the screen, there are different abilities. So I have this like kick. I have a leg sweep. I have firing the pistols and then the rope dart. I can tie these things together in interesting ways. One of the interesting ways we saw was like, there's a guard up on this surface up here. So let's say that I'm in a fight down at the base. I'm fighting this guy. I look up at him. I rope dart him down. I shoot him as he falls to the ground. I then throw a smoke bomb down. That causes him to get stunned. I assassinate him with the hidden blade, and then I turn around and I shove a sword into his back as he lays trying to, get his air in his lungs after face planting onto the ground. And then it's like a really cool combo that ties everything together. Or I could just button mash and kill him and then climb up and button mash and kill him. It's going to give you what you give it. That's kind of the main point. So there's going to be people who play this and they're just going to button mash and be like, yeah, I don't like the combat. you'll have the fun if you combine things together. I think if you increase the difficulty level, it'll force you to combine stuff because that's where the enemies are really going to punish you for button mashing. But I want to be clear that it's got a low floor, but a high ceiling if you challenge yourself to use those different tools. I was worried it was going to be a low floor and a low ceiling and that there wouldn't be that much complexity. But Paul Fu, the creative director on the game, he's a huge fan of fighting games. So he said when he was building, when they're doing early tests and like they were building the combat system, one of his primary goals was to try and find ways to combine moves together in creative ways to reward players for chaining stuff together in ways that maybe were not anticipated before. Skadoosh. There you go. And you can see, yes, there is blood in the game. They just had it turned off for the reveals. I also told them I thought the opening animation was kind of silly looking for opening the chest. He'll just kind of like knock it occasionally. There's other animations, but you can see some of the brutes, they have animations that are specifically parrying that. And this is also cool. So if you want to turn off HUD elements, you can turn off all the HUD elements, but you notice what just happened when he was broken. This is a cool little touch they have. Watch his hat. Okay, when this yellow bar breaks, which basically means his defense has been broken, watch what happens to his hat. His hat falls off. So if you want to turn off the hood fully and you want to get some sort of notification of when he's been broken, the hat will pop off and their headpieces will fall off. So if they're wearing one of the white wigs, that'll pop off when you break them and they're open for like a finisher. So if you want to play with like all of the UI turned off, they've actually thought of ways to signal to the player certain things without needing to have a big flash of white light or something like that, which is interesting. Do you think cutscenes animations are like Naoe's robotic animations? Just a moment. When I get to Lucy, your question will be answered. Okay. We're almost there. So I want to point that out. That's really cool. I do really like that. As for other things, they have some of these new environments and new mission areas that are legitimately really cool. Most of the new content that's dynamic, like new little islands to explore, are legitimately like a vibe and cool to find. There's a good amount of it too. You can now dive anywhere. There's all sorts of new treasure to be found. Like there's a bunch. Okay, there's a bunch. They've done a ton, and overall, it still feels, and this is the most important point, I think, it still feels like Black Flag, but just overhauled and like better. You know, I just think it plays better than the old one does to modern hands. You know, the controls feel tighter. It's more responsive. There's still some tightening that needs to be done. So for like example, you can see I run into the invisible wall because they didn't want us just going totally crazy while we explored. But I did go sharking at one point. I wonder if I can find the footage of me sharking. Me doing some sharking, matey. Oh, this was a storm. This was beautiful. I do like the storms a lot. But the like shark and whaling minigame, the aim assist is way too aggressive, I think. I just don't personally like it. Yeah, the lightning strikes are really cool. You have to avoid those. That's really awesome. I really liked it. And it felt like Black Flag, but just overhauled. They've done other things, for example, like adding a bunch of new sea shanties. So I actually took notes on this. I wrote down there are 10 new missions. There are 12,000 new voice lines that have been recorded and added. Those could be as part of new missions or quests or part of new scenes that Darby wrote, or it could be like dynamic stuff. So when you're sailing, new lines for Edward to make reference to different characters on the ship, or you sail by an island that's been new and added and he could make a new comment about that. Those are all new, 12,000 of those. Can you turn off auto aim? I was not able to go into the settings and test it and figure out, but I did tell them the aim assist was way too aggressive. So possibly you can turn it off. I don't know directly. I would think so, but we'll see. The 10 new sea shanties. There are 10 new sea shanties. 5 of them are from Assassin's Creed Rogue that have been brought over. 1 is Weatherman. 4 are originals that have been written specifically for this by the original guy. And an interesting little fun fact, the sea shanties they recorded in the original and for this, they went to record them. They brought in a choir to sing it. And they told the choir, yeah, so we just are testing microphones. Can you guys just do, they call them scratch takes. They're like, yeah, can you just like do a test? we're like, you don't have to like really try it. We just need to get levels. You can yell, you can scream, like it doesn't have to be clean. Just we're getting levels. It's a practice take. And they did that. And they only used the practice takes because they wanted it to sound less rehearsed and more gravelly and less polished. Because they're like, pirates wouldn't sound like a professional men's choir. It would sound like pirates. They need to be, in key, but it doesn't need to be super polished or refined. And I just thought that was a good little touch, Fascinating. So overall, really positive impressions. I like pretty much all of the tweaks that they made there. I think it runs better, looks better, plays just as good, if not better than the original in a lot of ways. I'm here for it. Now, I did say that there is one piece that I have a big question mark on, and this mostly had to do with new content and then how they would preserve the old content, especially narratively. So the new content, or rather, let's start with the preserved old content. Let's start with that. So as you I'm sure know, there's a bunch of cutscenes and stuff that are original, that were motion captured, that are very near and dear to many people's hearts and are very important to a lot of players. And that's because they know these scenes backwards and forwards. They've played the game a lot. They care deeply about these characters and the dialogue that's being portrayed each way. It's not something to be taken lightly. People care about these characters and care about the story. And so my fear was that we were going to get into this and we were going to find out that like they had gone in and like totally scrapped a lot of the original cutscenes and that they were going to do the AC shadows, like really rigid animations. And I'm happy to say that is not what has happened. The original cutscenes are still here. The original motion capture is still here. The original voice acting is still here. They brought all of the original actors back, except for, I believe, one who passed away a few years ago. But everyone else is back. They recorded all of this. And dude, it is just as good as I remember. Just as good. Let me show you an example. I have to find a very, very particular cutscene. Hold on. I'm almost there. Yes, this one. As my computer freezes. Yeah, great. Come on, there we go. Back for it. Okay. So you can see like they've redone some of the camera angles to make it work a little more cleanly or look a little bit more cinematic, but it's the same performances. It's the same dialogue. It's the same. They didn't rewrite anything, nothing like that. Okay. So they've preserved all of that, which was my primary concern. I was really worried they were going to like, we remade it. And then it's just, yeah, let's go to the dock and find Blackbeard. Like I was really worried about that, but no, they've kept it all. And it's a vibe.
For an audience, aye. It's all a big show. Give your quarry something to fear. Some hellish thing from a fevered dream. And men will drop to their knees, pleading for their lord before all else.
Oh, God. It looks fine.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. It's such a vibe, dude. I'm happy to report that stuff is retained. Now, what then is my hesitance? What is the one thing that I was like, I'm not sure about that? Well, you may have heard that they've added 3 officers. This is something they wanted to do in the original game, but they ran out of time and money to do it, so they just couldn't. These officers offer like permanent buffs to your ship specifically because they're officers on your ship. So the 3 new officers, I have it written down. Bear with me. They are, of course, Lucy. Lucy, we're going to talk about more in just a second. She is described as someone who is sarcastic, but that sarcastic armor is hiding a deeper vulnerability. She comes from a wealthy family, and she's trying to find her father's treasure and is willing to share it with someone who helps her find it. And she offers, when she's recruited fully, she unlocks a perfect brace ability, which just, as you would expect, gives you perfect brace. The Padre is another one of these officers. He is a former pirate who found God and is constantly battling whether he should give in to his urges for piracy and for being a bastard, or if he should focus on his religion and his connection with God. Honestly, interesting character. I think that could be really fascinating. I want to know more about him. And he still has a violent past and a very violent temper that he's constantly wrestling with. So I think he sounds legitimately really, really fascinating. The third and final officer is named Tobias, but his nickname is Deadman. Deadman is rescued from a coffin at sea. He is written, they described it, he's written like a Beckett play, and he's known for like really dry, dark humor, and he's meant to sort of represent and constantly remind the player of the worst of piracy and the darkest tendencies of this, because sometimes piracy can get romanticized. Shocker. So that's an interesting kind of twist on it. And Edward's task is to help him exact vengeance against those who wronged him and probably put him in the coffin, I would imagine. And he unlocks a double broadside fire ability when you get that. And then I should also say the Padre unlocks a powerful ram attack when you get him added. Now, we only got to see one little mission slice for Lucy. She is one of the three, and these three missions, some of the other new stuff that they've added, and 2 new scenes written by Darby, including an epilogue sequence, those all together add roughly 6 hours of new content to the game. Much of it was originally intended to be in the game, but had to be removed for budget and time constraints. I'm not saying, to be clear, that doesn't mean that like Lucy was designed back in 2012 or 2013, or any of these guys were. I believe they were written for this project specifically, but they wanted the idea of officers. They probably had ideas for what they would be, but these characters were created for this. Now, what is my frustration with these? Well, like I said, we got to see Lucy. Lucy, I'm just going to put it straight. And I'm going to show you some little snippets. I'll wait to describe what I think until you see it, because I don't want to cloud your judgment. Okay, just watch this. We're gonna get in a conversation. All I will do to set this up is let you know that we have been tasked with going and rescuing a girl named Lucy, who is a shipwright, from the belly of a ship, and she's been taken prisoner. And she's apparently a very good shipwright, and we could really use her help. And so we're gonna rescue her. And then this is their first interaction. Okay.
I'm your passage out of here. Quickly.
I don't know you from Blind Bart.
I need a shipwright. And you're in need of better lodgings. That's it. Time
Fair.
to go. It's me or the hangman.
You make a fine argument. Lead on.
Okay.
You've pissed off some powerful people.
I wish I could take credit. I've been stitched up.
Yeah, you and every pirate on the open seas, lass.
So then you go through a sequence where you fight off some guys that are chasing her down. Okay. Now, what happens after this? Let me show you the conversation that happens after this. I want to see what you think. Okay, one second.
Welcome to the Jackdaw shipwright. You can see for yourself, she's no slouch.
You're ship proud. I respect that.
She could use some work, if I'm honest. We need your skill. What say you to joining us?
You don't mince words, do you? I suppose I could look around, see what needs doing. First, I need a decent drink. I had nothing but fouled water in that damn cell for days.
It's a matter of some urgency, then. We'll have to go ashore.
So at this point, I'm already kind of feeling like, I don't know how else to describe it. It feels like a Skull and Bones quest. Okay. I don't know how else to say it. Okay. Like people don't talk this way. Okay. I just rescued you from a prison in the belly of a ship in like hellish conditions. And we get out and it's like, let's help you. Come and help me fix my ship. Will you join me? Why are we smiling so much? Why is she not like desperately thanking you for the help? You just saved her life and then fought off and killed hundreds of people in the harbor to rescue her. It's like, I could take a drink. Like, it's just weird. And then, but it's different. Okay. So one of you guys asked, what about the Shadows robotic animations? This is where we're going to see those make a return.
You could join us. You won't find a better ship than the Jackdaw, nor a fairer crew.
Christ, you're relentless.
Oh my God. It's scripted like a Disney ride. That's actually, I kind of like that a little more. I like that description. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Scripted like a Disney ride. That's funny. Yeah, it's kind of Disney Plus ride. That's what it feels like. Yeah.
I need you.
So you said. You did keep me from hanging.
You'd think that would be enough.
But that doesn't mean you own me.
No, it's just common to like, when someone saves your freaking life, that you are like thankful and maybe do something to help them. This isn't like a matter of slavery or like patriarchy. It's just like, I saved your freaking life. You know?
Also true.
Also
the Jackdaw's not a bad tub. And the crew know their work well enough. What else have you got for me?
I recognize that animation.
I'll show you. It might not look like much yet, but it will in time.
She's a baddie we forgive.
I've puked in every town from here to Havana. What's different about this one?
This is ours. A place where men and women can live easy and free as God made them. Nothing but sun, rum, and leisure.
You've rehearsed that little speech. Are the words all yours?
Mine. And those of friends.
I like that kind of dynamic dialogue. That's fine. So to be clear, not all of the scenes that are playing out here are going to be using the AC Shadows animations. There are some cool dynamics. Like, look at this. Look at this.
Experience with authority is uneven. Muggy! Hey there, Muggy. What are you doing? Look at your fetching little face.
Careful with that one. He's as much a scoundrel as any of us.
My grandfather owned a place like this.
I don't know what it is about the new Edward dialogue, but it's like all of it is delivered with a massive smile on his face. And I understand he's happy to be here, but it's like, again, I don't feel like most people talk this way. You know, it just feels weird. It doesn't feel original. And we were talking about this after the we played this sequence. We were at lunch and I was talking to some of the other people about it. And it was just the way I think Joel Raptor put it, he was just like, it was very clear it was not original content. Like, and I agree. It's just, it doesn't feel tonally the same.
Black Island.
Okay.
Had the best plantain in the
But then
West
look at
Indies.
this. This is motion captured.
It's true nonetheless. When my mother died, it was Granddad who raised me.
So this is like way better than the Shadows sequence, the Shadows animation sequence we just saw. We asked them about this because it seemed like they were mixing with the new content. They were mixing together the old animation and the new one. And the motion capture stuff. And we asked them why. And he said, Paul Fu answered it, the creative director. And he said, to put it very simply, it used to be, you know what I need? You know what I need? I need some MS Paint. You got to have MS Paint. It used to be that you would have a sequence like this. Maybe this is sequence 7, or we'll just say mission number 7. Okay. You would have a cutscene right here and right here. They bookended the chapter or the mission or whatever, and that was it. And so you would have a motion capture scene at the beginning and a motion capture scene at the end, and that's it. And that's why it was all motion captured and it felt really high quality. But he was saying how now they want to also have, in like Lucy's case, they wanted to have a scene play out when they arrived and got off the jackdaw, and then another sequence play out when they got to the top of the hill at the villa, which is what we're seeing now. And because of that, they have a scene on the ship after you fight off the other people that are coming to attack her, after you get her out of the brig. And then you have this one on the dock, and then you have the one up at the villa. So these are motion captured. The one inside the brig was motion captured. The one at the end, bookending it, is motion captured, which is this one. But then the two sequences and scenes in the middle are using the AC Shadows kind of rigid bucket animations. And so it feels jarring to go between them because the quality difference is massive, right? And I think that's what we're feeling. Technically, there are more cutscenes, but the additional cutscenes per chapter or per mission or whatever you want to say, the additional ones are of a lower quality than just the motion captured stuff. So I understand what they're doing, but I personally think I would just prefer if they did all motion capture and maybe less scenes, but all motion capture, because the quality difference is massive. I mean, even just you watch the way her eyes move when she turns around here. There's not even this level of finesse in any of the Shadows sequence animations. Like, there's nothing like that. Watch this.
We ate plantain every day. I'm pretty much made of plantain.
Wait for the eyes
Where's
shift.
this grandfather now?
Murdered.
The little look down and then look
the
up.
one who did it and vent his skull. It's like this. I'm heir to Granddad's fortune. If you help me recover it, I'll cut you in. Then we'll talk about joining your crew.
Okay.
I see you're gonna make me work for this.
After he already saved your life. Just saying.
I'm worth it.
Where is this inheritance?
And that's all the convincing. It just, I'm sorry, I just feel like it doesn't feel, it's hard to say true to the character, but like it just feels off. It feels off tonally. Like, it's just, I understand we have to go on a mission to recruit her. I get that. But this like super entitled, like, you don't own me now just because you saved my life. It's like, I didn't say I owned you. I just saved you and I need a shipwright. Could you help? This is better than where you were. What else do you have going on? Like, I'll take you back. You know, it's just like, I feel like any normal human being would be like, you're acting so freaking spoiled and entitled. And I get she's supposed to be from a really rich family. So maybe there's added context that explains this. Maybe there's something more about her character that justifies all this. But this stood out like a sore thumb in the broader context, because this was the only like really new narrative content we experienced, and the rest of the game that we played was all the original stuff. So we had gotten inundated with like the OG 2013 game, the OG writing and banter and everything. And we just looked previously, right before this, at that sequence with Thatch and everything, and the writing's so good and it's so tight and it's so awesome. And then we go to this and it just immediately feels like a Disney ride or Disney Plus writing. It just feels off. And like I said, the delivery where Edward's just constantly smiling the whole time, it makes it feel like, are they flirting? Or like, because again, most people in this situation would not be acting this way. It just feels weird. Too agreeable? Yeah. I think there's something like that going on. It just doesn't feel tonally level set with everything else. So this was the one area where I felt really conflicted after all of this. It's not that there's anything like really bad about it. Like, I didn't see anything that made me like particularly upset or like that was unacceptably cringe. But there were just, the whole time I was playing it, I was like, and honestly, realistically, if If that's the cost, if we have one mission, because who knows, maybe Dead Man's mission is amazing. Maybe Le Padre's mission is awesome. Honestly, they as characters sound way more interesting to me than Lucy, who's just like spoiled rich kid that wants her granddad's treasure. That's not that interesting to me. But I do think that like the Padre, a pirate who gets reformed and finds God and wants to constantly go back and forth trying to decide who he owes his loyalty to, the seas or God, you know, that sounds really interesting. So it could be that the other characters are really well done and are awesome. And then we literally have in this entire remake, 6 hours of new content, we have like a 20-minute mission with Lucy that's kind of cringy. If that's the cost for the whole remake, that is a cheap cost. You know, if there's one miss in this whole package, that's still really, really good. That's a great batting average, and it's far from a deal breaker. But if I'm talking about the overall impressions, how I felt about everything that I saw, almost everything I saw really excited me and I really liked, but I gotta say what I think. And what I think was that these Lucy missions and sequences were like really obviously not original and just did not feel at home with the rest of the content. And I want to voice that so that they are aware. Everything else has been retained. Everything else is original. There are, and to be clear, I should also clarify this. As we know, Darby McDevitt has come back to write 2 new missions and sequences. Specifically, it sounds like epilogue stuff and then Rift stuff is what he primarily was helping on. Darby is the original writer, so you would be like worried if he had written this. He did not write The Officers. The Officers missions were written by the Singapore team. They were not done by Darby. Darby's stuff is the big ticket stuff at the end that kind of is the capstone on the overall experience. But Darby did not write this stuff. And all I will say is that I can tell. You know, I don't think it's terrible or awful. We've seen some games that have awful writing. It's nothing on that level, but it was very clearly not original content, and it seems like content that I'm just gonna kind of work my way through. You know, it shows. Yeah, it shows. It's more a testament to, I think, the quality of the original more than anything. Who is writing Hexa? Darby. I'm sure there's a writing team, but yeah, Darby is on that one. So overall, my impressions are very, very positive. And you might be like, well, Luke, you just spent like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, talking about Lucy stuff. That's because it's easy for me to say the water looks amazing, because it does. You see that? You're like, yeah, it looks great. I can say the original cutscenes being updated to 4K with like improved fidelity looks awesome. Okay, yeah, I buy that. It's easy to make an affirmative claim and just say that because the evidence is either self-evident on screen or it felt good to play. And that's all you can really describe. But when I say that I don't like something, I try very hard to explain why I didn't like something and try to justify it. And in the case of Lucy, it's the one thing that stood out like a sore thumb against everything else, which was phenomenal. Her stuff just felt like, what are we doing? What? Is that island you build out still in the game? You mean the villa and everything? Yeah, that's where the conversation with Lucy took place, was on the, like, at the villa. That's where that is. So overall, I'm really excited. And again, I can't stress this enough. The Lucy thing standing out like a sore thumb is far from a deal breaker. It's one of those things where if you're grading like a paper, it's like they got one sentence in the paper that is filled with a few spelling mistakes. Does that mean the paper is a failing paper? No. Does that mean that you get an F? No. It just takes it maybe from an A+ to an A, or an A to an A-. You know, it's like, it's not perfect, but no game is. And like I said, if there is one weak link in a broader package, that's fantastic. That's a pretty good batting average. I'll take it still. But yeah, the Lucy stuff left me underwhelmed. All of that to say though, I'm really stoked for it. It is pretty much everything I think we were hoping for. It is a massive recreation of a classic. It seems to have been done very faithfully. They are trying some stuff with new content. It just seems like the one sliver of new content they showed was tailor-made to make my cringy dialogue bat senses that senses, spidey senses tingle and stand up. So it's just something I'm particularly sensitive to. And like I said, I am a fan. I have a lot of bias with this. I love Black Flag, the original game. I love it dearly. And so I'm a hard person to please, I think, within the context of everything they're doing here. And the fact that I left feeling very, very positive is a good sign. And I don't think it'll be surprising that it's the new content that I'm iffy on, after all this, because I'm a purist. I love the original. So I'm not that surprised that it stood out to me because I know the original game really well. But overall, very positive impressions. Yes. I should mention this. I mentioned this at the end of, actually, I might just show you. It might be easier to just show you. Hold on. This, I'm going to show you the end of this here. This is the end of the video we did earlier today. Okay. Get ready for Lukeception. Like live reactions to gaming news, to preview stuff, all of that. And I did do a reaction to a gameplay demo thing they did for some of you guys were here for this.
And while doing that, I had a random moment where I made a comment on some of the couches in the scene. I'll just play it here for you. See what I'm talking about. I just want to say this has nothing to do with anything. I've been to the Caribbean. I never know which way to say it. I love it. It's great. You're out of your damn mind if you want to keep like fabric covered cushioned seats in the open air. Look, that couch, tell you what, within 2 weeks, that thing is covered in mold. I would not do that. Okay. There's a reason moldy chair. Yeah, I'm a chair expert. I sure am. When we were there were multiple restaurants we went into where like you just walk in and dude, the ceiling is like textured with black mold and stuff. It's just a fact of life there because it's so humid and the rain is so crazy. You just don't mess with things being exposed to the open air that could collect mold if you care about collecting mold. This scares me, okay? Random things that pop off in my head when I'm watching gameplay. Sorry, not sorry. Nowhere of mold. Luke the Mold Stevens. Yeah, right here. Yeah, so we did that stream segment. It did pretty well. I don't know what the view count is, but we did that stream segment and clipped it. And when I met the team in Singapore, I got to meet with a lot of the devs. And one of them was the game's director, Richard Knight. Yeah, to be clear, Paul Fu is the creative director. Richard is the game director. And you want to know what he said the moment I walked in the room? I walked in the door and he goes, aha, Luke the Mold Stevens. Oh, it's like, that's the video you saw when I'm like looking at all this stuff. It looks really cool. Hey, a lot of the stealth stuff looks improved. That looks great. And then I started randomly on an ADHD tirade about mold in the Caribbean, and that's their takeaway. Yeah, so I'm now known internally at Ubisoft as Luke the Mold Stevens. Sorry, not sorry. There you go. Yeah, I it's kind of beautiful that's the takeaway, but yeah, there you go. Luke the Mold Stevens. Yep. Watch as they add some mold to a couple of the couches. I'm gonna be like, oh my god. They listened. Here we go. The Mold Man. Yes. Yeah. It's my legacy. Oh God. Anyway, so I'm stoked. I'm super excited. I mean, all you have to do, Nick Tech posted these side by sides to just get an idea, because often we can look back on the game with rose tinted glasses and we kind of lose sight of how much they've actually done. But dude, the OG was not a bad looking game at all. But dude, the new one, the work they've done is just crazy. It's just crazy. Especially when you consider like the resolution bumps, overall fidelity with like sound effects and improvement, like everything is just cranked out the ass. It's really, really good. So there you go. Let's see. That's what I thought it looked like. Well, everybody is like the new game, or the resynced, looks the way we remember it, which is high praise, because I think a lot of people, their brain fills in the gaps and it's like, yeah, I remember that. I haven't watched other
other previews. But Hidden One is saying the same thing. One of the main criticisms I gather from the 4 to 5 Black Flag Racing preview videos is the Lucy Baldwin questline. Everyone I watched said it's nowhere near the same writing standards as the main story, and the overall presentation of it is very RPG inspired with stiff robotic dialogue and cutscenes. Thank God I wasn't alone when I talked about this in my video. Apart from that, the overall sentiment is quite positive. Yes. I think that was really like the only flag that I can think of. Is there another reference? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, anyway. So there you go. Where did I leave off? Wouldn't the robotic animations for the new stuff concern you for the future AC games? If they did that here, they'll continue to do them for new games. Well, this game, to be clear, was primarily, it seems, being put together. It started, I believe they said 3 years ago. So circa like 2023, late 22, early 23. And so most of the work on this seems to have taken place like right around the launch of Shadows or pre-Shadows, which is important because most of the blowback and the demand from players to go full motion capture, get rid of the dynamic cutscenes after Shadows, was after Shadows, because Shadows, it was really, really stiff. It was a massive downgrade. So I think this stuff was kind of locked in by the time they got most of the feedback. And this feedback we're giving them now is exactly what you would hope to see, that like they're going to listen to this and be like, okay, we need, we should change. We should shift it up. You know, we should do something different. So I think it's going to, hopefully have an effect, but time will tell. But I think the message has been received at the very least loud and clearly that you can't just throw in like a Skull and Bones quest into Black Flag Resynced and expect it to be on the same level. Like you have to, the writing quality is on another level, which is why people love Black Flag, and you cannot imitate it easily. You know, it is something guttural and it passes the vibe check or it doesn't. And it immediately sent up the red flags, which is just very interesting. I'm actually curious. Jor.
I played more than 4 hours of...
Yeah, Jor. I just want to know if he said the same thing. Does he have a chapter about... He does. New content. Where is he going to talk about Lucy?
Better lodgings.
Oh, he plays it?
Liners instead of a downgrade.
Time to go. It's me or the hangman.
You make a fine argument. Lead on.
It feels like such a downgrade for a new mission. We're back to the weird one-liners instead of a natural conversation. It felt like playing a free mission in Assassin's Creed Shadows, not a...
That's a good way of saying it. It feels like a free, like, new drop content made by a secondary team. Like that's a good way of putting it too. I also, again, I like the, it feels like a Disney ride. I really like that.
A brand new...
Because I think what Jor also just referred to is true. There is this weird, like, I think it's a cadence thing, because basically my understanding of how this tool that they're discussing works is that they have to do it like this. They have the sequence, right? So this is like the scene that's playing out, or the conversation, and they have it broken up into little chunks. And then each chunk they put a line into. So this is like dialogue 1, dialogue 2, dialogue 3, dialogue 4, dialogue 5, dialogue 6, and so on. And they then pair this with an animation for each character. So they have like animation A, and for this one, we'll keep that character in A. He'll go A, and then this is his dialogue. So he'll move to animations B, C, and then back to A while he's listening. So these are Edward's animations. And then you have Lucy's animations, which she is talking here. So she's going to be in animation set C, and then B, and then maybe D, and then she goes to A to listen to his feedback, and she stays in A to listen to the feedback, and then she goes back into animation set C, and then D, and then B, just to shake it up. And this is how they set it up. So each animation is tied to a line that's being delivered. And because of that, they end up writing the lines in these like chunks that they can splice in here, which is just not how human beings talk. Human beings have back and forth. They might interrupt each other a little bit. They might stammer and stutter on their words. They might get like a little train of thought lost, and then they remember and they jump back in and they cut into the conversation. Like, it's just, that's how people talk. The RPG games, though, using this dynamic dialogue system are often built this way because this is how they can structure it. Which is why even for like a lot of big RPGs that we know and love, like even The Witcher 3, for example, dialogue is written in this same way. And the skill for the writing comes in kind of making this flow together with the delivery, the dialogue, the performance of the actors. All of that has to work. But what ends up happening in like AC Shadows is that it ends up playing very like rigid, and you can tell very quickly when lines are changing and when things are broken up like that. And I think this is what's happening in the Lucy quest, is that it feels like this instead of a free flow. And what makes it extra jarring is that you have phenomenal motion capture quality right before and right after, and then you have the robotic animation spliced in between with those conversations. So I think that's right. What else did he say?
Full game quest in Black Flag. Now, it was said that there will be motion capture scenes for these new officer recruitment missions too, but most of the interactions will likely contain these robotic animations with poor writing. Now, scenes that should really flesh out Edward as a character, reveal...
Yeah, the robotic scenes, I think, like I said, are going to be in between the bookending motion capture scenes. That seems to be what they're doing. But yeah, go watch Jor's impressions and previews, because he always has fascinating takes as well, and he knows these games very, very well. But overall, it seems like that is a common thread with the feedback. I can't say I'm particularly shocked. So there's that. As for other stuff, yeah, I think that's the main ones. Okay. Let me catch up on these real quick. Reminds me of some of the voice acting in Syndicate. I could see that. What I think is just strange, again, I think it goes to the writing, but then it also goes to the direction. Because like I said, a lot of dialogue is written in an overly friendly way, which is why it feels like a Disney Plus show or a Disney ride, because it's like, I don't know, Edward is a pirate. I understand he's like a nice guy, but he's also a pirate and privateer. Like, the idea that he's just immediately so chummy and smiley with everything just feels out of place, you know? It just doesn't feel quite right. So I don't think it's that massive of a deal again, but it's a little sliver of the game, but it's still worth mentioning so they get the feedback. Joel, thank you for that super chat. I finally made the switch from PS5 to PC with a 4070 Super. I've been with PlayStation for years, but I'm so sick of them monthly fees just to play online. Very, very limited backwards compatibility. Well, that will not be a problem for you on PC, my friend. Welcome to PC Park. It's a great place. Glad to have you. Edward's legit a dickhead for most of the game. It's part of his character. And I think that's probably why I guess it depends on how you define dickhead. But I think he is... How would I even describe him? He's extremely confident. He's not going to be pushed around. Even at times full of himself, sure. But he's very, very confident, very capable. And I think that's also why it feels so weird for him to immediately be pushed around by her. Like, he doesn't give any pushback. It's just like, how about joining my crew? I need a shipwright. I just saved your freaking life and killed hundreds of people. Can you help me out? She's like, you don't own me. I didn't say I did, but what? Like, I would expect just a little pushback, but instead it just smiles. Absolutely. You know, it starts to feel like that same sort of like Veilguard approach to writing where everybody's trying to be super friendly. And it's like, instead of just being no and being like confrontational occasionally, it's just whatever you say, friend, you know, It's just weird. It's just weird. Maybe because it's female, like the interaction is different. There's female characters in the base cast too, but none of those interactions feel really weird and awkward like this. Like Anne Bonny is a fantastic example. She plays off Edward just fine, you know, but with Lucy, there's this really, really bizarrely like awkward interaction. I think it's clear it's because it's written by different people and it just stands out. The Horizon series says the ACB or ABC system very well. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of skill that goes into balancing that flow so that it doesn't feel choppy. And I think the problem is that this felt really, really choppy. Let's see, where did I leave off? Let's see, Blackbeard, how appropriate. Thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you for the 10. Were you sad to hear that the legendary voice actor Tom Kane passed away on the 18th? He was Mags in Ultimate Alliance 3 and Yoda in and the narrator in Clone Wars. Yeah, I mean, it's always tragic to hear stuff like that happens. We're reaching the point where like a lot of the people we grew up watching perform, either as voice actors, performers, musicians, whatever. A lot of them are getting to that age where this type of thing can happen. And then, you know, barring things like illnesses or accidents, of course, which also are unfortunately a reality of life. But yeah, it is sad, but his legacy will live on. Indeed, certainly will. It's the cool thing about being an actor or performer like that is that your performances will live well beyond you. You know, it's just kind of cool. Let's see, Wallet, thank you for that. Combat looks more fluid than the reveal. I'm glad. Yeah, and like I said, it depends a lot on who's playing it. Like if you play it just button mashing, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. But if you watch somebody play it who's like chaining attacks together, it looks way better. You know, it just depends on how you're doing it. Tank Dempsey, thank you for the 2. What do you think about the realistic sales ceiling? Oh, for Black Flag Resynced? I genuinely don't know. I mean, I think it sells millions, but I don't know if it sells like 2 million or if it sells 5 million. I legitimately don't know. What I do know is that there is a massive I think there's a big like mainstream appeal for this that should not be understated. Like I've had people that are not active gamers recognize Black Flag Resynced and bring it up. Like I said, my barber went to get a haircut. And there's another guy that's like an oil field worker who's sitting in the other barber chair, whatever you call it, next to me getting his haircut by another gentleman. And I'm talking to my barber, who's a gamer, about Black Flag Resynced and all this stuff. And that other guy hears us talking about it. And it's like, yeah, I haven't played games in a long time, but yeah, I saw a commercial for that. Really excited. You know, it's like, that's where these games explode in sales volume, is the guys that have an Xbox on their media center and haven't booted it up in a year and a half or 2 years that decide to boot it up so they can play a game, you know, a remake of something that they've been keeping an eye on. That's where these games explode and do phenomenally well. That was the success of like Oblivion. Like the word of mouth with that was crazy. It exploded, did incredibly well. So I think it's just, it's fascinating to, it's going to be fascinating to see if it can pierce that mainstream veil, but they're doing everything they can to get it in front of people, to promote the crap out of it. They're going to keep promoting the crap out of it, market the crap out of it. And, I think it'll do very well. I think it'll do very, very well. So yeah, nostalgia sells. It does. And I mean, again, the product itself is very, very good. Hollow posted some screen grabs. People will see this and be like, yeah, I want to relive that. I want to go back through that. Times were simpler in 2013. I want to re-experience that. So it's a very well executed remake, which is the key thing. The only red flag we have, the only thing people seem to have not liked was some of the new stuff, which guess what? It's new additional stuff. So if you literally only play original content and you just don't bother with the new stuff, you are getting a great remake of the original game and you just don't mess with the extra stuff on the side. You know, it's like if you go to a steakhouse and you get a phenomenal steak, and then they offer you a free side of French fries, but the fries are like, some of them are a little stale. It's like, okay, well, I came for the steak. I still got an incredible steak. You know, I won't eat all the fries. That's kind of where I'm at, you know, with it. It's like, oh, the side isn't that great, but I didn't come for the side. I came for the steak, you know. That's the key. Okay, I read that one. I did that one. RPG veteran, good to see you, my friend. Hi, Luke, did you miss me? So much. I was in India for my vacay. Couldn't join live for 3 weeks. I am not going to hear anyone's feedback on AC4 as I pre-ordered it day one. Oh, you're just going to go in raw. I respect it. Honestly. I do think a lot of games are over marketed nowadays. And I'm saying that as somebody who benefits from more marketing, because like I can make videos and we can talk about it. But I do think most games are over marketed and overshare. You know, it feels like, you know, when you see a movie trailer and it's like you watch the entire movie before you even finish the trailer. That's what it sometimes feels like with game advertising sometimes, where it's like, I feel like I've already played the game and it's not even out yet, you know? It's weird. And then Infinite, thank you for that. 5. Hey, Luke, I don't know if I forgot some news, but Fable is still releasing this year. I don't remember a release date being announced. Worried it'll get pushed. Yes, it is allegedly still coming this year. They even just posted on LinkedIn earlier today, actually, 9 hours ago. This. After the incredible launch of Forza Horizon 6 this week, the excitement across the studio is sky high, but we're not done yet. With Fable coming later this year, we're continuing to recruit across multiple disciplines, and then it's a job listing. So 9 hours ago, they said it's launching this year. So there you go. And then Mason, thank you for that 5. Have you taken a look, Luke, have you taken a look at Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core? It recently came out in early access, and so far it looks pretty good. I haven't delved into it, but I will pull it up in another tab and check it out. Thank you for the suggestion, my friend. Thank you for the suggestion. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Sweet. Okay. I find that hard to believe. I just was assuming they delayed it, but because bear in mind, this fall, they supposedly have Gears coming as well, and Halo. I haven't heard anybody really talking about Halo, but Gears is coming. So that's probably October, right? You're not going November with Gears. You're probably not going December. So where do you put Fable? Like, is Fable ready in September? I would think we would have heard more about it by now if it was ready for September, you know? Like, that's close. That is closer than you think, you know? So, like, does it come there or does it come at another point? Like, I just don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see. But maybe it ends up being the December, like that December 9th window that, like, Indiana Jones went to. Maybe that's where it goes. Or maybe they're just saying that they are planning on releasing it this year and then they'll announce a delay in a few months. Or maybe they just wait until they confirm GTA 6 is launching November and they're like, okay, yep, we're delayed. Maybe, I don't know. Luke, I'm late to the stream. Did you talk about the Strauss interview yet? No, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bundle Strauss's talk and the earnings call together, and we're going to talk about them all at the same time, because at this point, by the time we would talk about the Strauss interview, everything he says in the interview could either be confirmed or contradicted by what happens in the earnings call in like 45 minutes. So yeah. They're also waiting for GTA 6 like everybody else. Well, it could be that if they're looking at it and they're like, we are good to go in November. We would love to launch in November, but if GTA 6 is in November, we shouldn't go in November. So they might just be waiting to hear the official confirmation during this earnings call that it's coming, and then go, okay, it's coming November. We'll delay to January or February or something, you know. GTA 6 won't launch. I guess final votes. Let me do a poll. Hold on. GTA 6 this year? Yes or no? Sorry, it's just going to be on YouTube because of how it works. I'm sorry, Twitch fam. I'm very sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me, for I know not what I do. Okay. Vote on the poll real quick if you haven't already. I think so, personally. I'd be shocked. Where's an option? I don't care. How dare you? Because no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to... you're the game you want that you do care about is getting delayed because of it. So that's where you should care. 80%, 80-20. Wow. A lot, a surprising number. Don't think it's coming this year. That's interesting. I think it's coming this year. I think we'll hear in 45 minutes that it's coming in November. Lock it in. That's what's happening. So, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow I'll hop on stream and I'm like, I was wrong. It's delayed to 2030. Who knows? They're like, we're freaking out. We're too stressed. Game's canceled. We can't do it. Remember, there were people saying, unironically, after the leaks in 2022, 2023, the really bad leaks that happened, there were people saying, I think they just canceled GTA 6 and they'll just go straight to Red Dead 3. It's like, what are you talking about? Why would they do that? Like, why would they cancel the biggest game ever that they've already spent so much money on? Like, why would they do that? I never understood why people are like, oh, a leak, cancel it. Doesn't make sense to me, but anyway. Yeah, I'd put good money on it launching this year. I'd be shocked if it's delayed. Shocked. But the Gang of Dragons studio is officially closed. Oh, is it official now? Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, it was expected. So I can't say I'm shocked. They got funding pulled and yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. That's too bad though. That's too bad. But that's what happens when you run out of money, you know? That's just anyway. Rip Destiny 2. Yep, Rip Destiny 2 indeed. And that was old alpha footage. Yeah, no, I mean, for real. It's never made sense to me. They said the same thing about Insomniac with what is it? Wolverine. Wolverine leaked really bad and they were saying, yeah, they're going to cancel it now. I was like, I don't understand why they would have to cancel it. Like, yes, if you dug into the leaks, you know the story. At least what the story was when it leaked. They could have rewritten stuff and changed it. You know, like some of the twists, you know, some of the big reveals they're going to have. And so that stuff was spoiled unless they changed it, which they probably changed some of it a little bit, but I've never understood why therefore you cancel the game. You know, I don't see where that leap is. I just don't see it. But anyway. Having said that, the Owl, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. And then Buddy Team, thank you for that sub over on Twitch as well, my friend. Maybe need a trailer on June 2nd. Oh, like PlayStation does it? Maybe. I mean, maybe you remember they're doing watch parties and stuff. That might be their big thing is they have the GTA 6 trailer number 3. That wouldn't be impossible. It's not impossible. So I guess we'll see. Anyway, I just got notified, guys. I have to go upstairs and I have a guy doing, oh, wow. Wow. I got a very interesting email. That's very interesting. Okay. ... I'll have to read that in more detail. That's exciting is all I'll say. I got an email for something that is okay. in like 6 months I'm gonna refer back to this stream and be like, this is when I found out. That's funny. Luke's leaving for another week. Oh God, don't make me. Dude, that was like, I've never in my life had travel issues like that. It was unbelievable. Like, it was crazy. A colonoscopy? Yeah, dude. Like, guys, guess who just got accepted to a colonoscopy? I've been trying to get in for years and they finally let me in. That's great. So excited. Anyway, yeah, you guys speculate wildly as to what that is. I don't think anybody's guessed it yet, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, no, let me double check. Nope, nobody's guessed it yet. So there you go. Give us a hint. It's for something many people have said looks too good to be true. I'll leave it there. Much love, everybody. I'll leave you with that one. I'll see you soon enough. Mold 6. Yeah. Yeah, mold. This time it's personal. I will see you guys soon. Much love. And I will be back probably tomorrow. Okay? Buckle up, buckaroo. Suicide Squad 2. Oh, God. Bye-bye. Mwah.